Hi everyone, I'm Paul with MadCap Software. Going to talk about output types in this video. So there are lots of different results that you could get when generating output from MadCap Flare, and Flare has various output types to facilitate this, output formats. So it kind of depends on what you need. Now, some of these output types are designed really for online output. People are going to look at it on a browser, and they're going to be able to click links and go here and there and maybe view movies, all kinds of online stuff. Other output formats are really designed for print-based, even though there's sort of a fine line between online and print anymore, because print, you actually can do some online type of things, is some of these print-based outputs. So what we're talking about are things that are in a more traditional linear format where there's page numbers, you're going from one page to the next, just on down in one document. All right, and then there are some other output formats that they're just kind of unique, and you'll see as we go through this. And when you're choosing an output type, you just got to really think about, what are your needs? What's your purpose? Do you need some online web-based output that's out there on a server that people are accessing? Or do you need online output that is installed on the user's machines? It's desktop. Maybe you need some print-based. You need to do some various types of print output. Maybe you need to embed your output in a software application, something like that. Or you need to publish to some kind of a platform, and you need to make sure that you have the right output type. So that's what we're going to talk about in this video. We're going to go through Flare's output formats. I'm going to tell you what each one is about, the benefits of them, or the drawbacks possibly in some cases. And hopefully by the end of this video, you will be more informed and be able to make a decision about which ones are right for you. Now, we're going to begin with HTML5, that output type. That overwhelmingly is the most popular output format from Flare, at least for online. And that's what we recommend most people use for their online output. Unless you have a good reason that you need one of these others, that's what I suggest that you use. So HTML5, it's modern looking, it's smart, it's just really up to date. And it's good whether you need output that's up on a server or at the desktop, on installed locally on a person's machine. It's really good for all of that. Let's hop into Flare and see where actually you select your output types, and then we'll go from there. Now, I'm in a Flare project, and over on the left in the project organizer, you can see I've added one of each of most of our types of output formats in here. And there's HTML5, and you can see all the others. I just named the targets according to their type, and they all have unique icons. And when you want to add one, you just right-click targets, select Add Target, and up pops this dialog. Now, from the output type field, that's where you choose what you want. And you can see we put HTML5 at the top because that is what we're hoping that most people use. It's going to do what most people need. And then under that, we have a couple of print ones, PDF and Word, and then some other ones that we'll get into, and legacy, and then there's deprecated. So we'll talk about all of these as we go on. So there's been a change since the time that I originally recorded this video, and you'll notice that there is actually a third output type that's listed under print, and that's PowerPoint. Of course, PowerPoints, people look at them online, but it's listed here under print because how you structure it, how you create it, really aligns with the print output types like PDF and Word. So you also have that option. So we want to start with HTML5 and actually show you some output with this one, because HTML5 is the most versatile. And so there's several things that we want to talk about. Now, there are different varieties of HTML5 output that you can use. And these are the varieties are accomplished with what we call a skin. So the skin, this is an example of one of the templates, the template output, and it's using a side navigation. That's one of the types of HTML5. And side navigation is, you can just guess what that is. Well, here's the navigation. It's over on the sides based on your TOC. Could move it over to the right side. Either way, this is what it looks like. And here's just another example from another template. So you can, these can look entirely different, but the navigation is going to be on one side or the other. And here's yet another one that you could do. This is another template from our website, and you could choose something like this. Now, you could also, the second variety is top navigation. Some people don't want the navigation on the side. They kind of like it across the top. They like the idea of it looking like a website. So this is one of our built-in templates, and the navigation, the main navigation, is up here at the top, whether it's the first level from the TOC or in the drop downs, you get the second level topics. Here is another example of top navigation output. You can see how different they can look through adjusting the skins and styles. But the thing that they all have in common is that navigation goes across the top. Now, the third variety of HTML5 is tri-pane, and this is more of an old school look, and it actually is made up of frames. So one frame is across the top. It's the header that includes the search bar and the logo, and over on the left is the navigation, and it's got one tab in here, and we could add more like an index and a glossary. And the third frame is here, which shows the body. And most people have moved away from this to the other side nav and top nav, because those are frameless. This one has frames. And the thing is, being frameless usually helps with search engine performance. Okay, but some people like this. So this is yet another kind that you could use, another type of HTML5 output. And finally, there's skinless. So in this type of HTML5 output, we don't have a main skin. So there isn't anything across the top. There's nothing on the sides. And we're relying on things like links and toolbars and other things like that to go from place to place. So there's a lot of variety with HTML5 output. Another benefit to HTML5 is when you open up the output. For example, this is the online documentation for MadCap Central, and you can see the URL up here, and each topic is has a unique URL. So I click this, and you can see the URL changes and goes specifically to that topic. Well, that actually is a big deal, especially for people that want to copy and paste and send people links to specific topics. Not all output formats are able to do this or able to do it this well. So that is a nice little difference there for HTML5. Another really key thing for HTML5 is the fact that it is responsive. And what we mean by that is people are looking at output on different devices, large screens, tablets, mobile phones. You never know what people are using to look at your output. And Flare, in Flare, the HTML5 output, it's super smart in that it's already built in. It's already designed to adjust automatically. The skin here is designed to adjust based on what the person is using to view the output. So right now, the navigation in this side navigation, excuse me, the navigation's on the side. But if someone, I'm just resizing this, if somebody looks at it on a smaller screen, well, that navigation is no longer there. In fact, it tucks away into this flyout, which is super nice. And you go even smaller, and there is a mobile phone. And mobile phone with the skin is a lot like what you see with the tablet. You got the flyout. The difference, though, is notice in the tablet, it's not just the skin that can be responsive, but you can create responsive content. So I've got a couple of tiles on this home page, and that looks okay in tablet and on a large screen, but you go down to mobile size, someone's looking at it on a phone, well, you can have these stack on top of one another. You could even have content say different things, like maybe on a large screen, it would say click, but on a tablet and a mobile phone, it would say tap. Okay, so HTML5 is super useful for that. Let's see. Another thing that it's really great at is search, and it'll give you context really nicely. So for example, if I use this one and search, let's look for, and this is in the central help, and you look for the word domain, and you come down to the search results, and you can see that each one is highlighting that term, and it's giving me some context. It's looking at what I have either as the first content that is in that topic, or the meta description, the metadata behind it. So that's really useful. It helps people make a decision when they're doing search. Now, the other thing that is super useful for when it comes to search and other things is micro content. You already saw micro content. I just skipped past it. Above these search results is this. HTML5 lets you create pieces of micro content. And one of the key uses of this is to put what you think users are going to want to see right at the top of the search results. So they don't even need to click on anything. So in this case, I searched for domain. Well, in MadCap Central, here's some information about the domain, how to add a host map domain. And these are really cool. And so in here, I'm given some a description of this and some quick steps, and even have an animated GIF over on the right. You can add all kinds of stuff to this. And what's really cool is it is actually, this content is coming from an existing topic. If I click this, you can see this is it. This is the content in here. Now, not everything in the topic was in there, just the part that I wanted with the search. Micro content is a super key reason to use HTML5. All right, and one other really good reason to use HTML5, let me see if I select the right one here. It's this one, the e-learning course. If you need to create e-learning courses, you're working with training and you want to provide people with courses so that they go through and they are just advancing through a course, and then maybe have some knowledge checks to gauge their knowledge in here. And you just see how they're doing, give them instant feedback. All right. And there's lots of, features that could be included in this, as well as the other outputs. And you're just kind of working your way through this. And some of these are knowledge checks. And then you can get to the end of the course and you get a test. And so this is similar to what you saw earlier in the knowledge checks, except for this is gradable, right? I'm at the end of it and I'm going through and I'm taking the test, and I want to see how I do, right? And just get to the end. I'm almost there, probably going to have, I had one wrong. So 80% test results right at the end. And you can integrate this with an external learning management system, so you can track all of this stuff. So I knew I was going to spend a whole lot of time on HTML5 because, like I said, it is by far and away the most popular of our output types, our online output types. You can do the most with it. This most likely is what you want for online output. But we are going to continue in this video, and I will take you through the others to explain what they are, because you saw that there are several options. And so you should know what they are. Maybe this isn't what you need each time, HTML5. You might need one of the others. So let's keep going. Let's take a look at the next output type. All right, the next output type we want to talk about is PDF. And I'm not going to go into nearly as much detail with this one because everybody knows about PDFs. And this is the output type for print-based output that most people are going to use. It's just universally accepted. It's super easy to do. Just want to hop into Flare and show you one or two things really quick. So in Flare, I added, as I said, several targets in here, and I've got one that is based on PDF. And you open this up. Now, these targets, the target editor has got a lot of the same things, a lot of the same fields for each output type. For the, they're just the same things. But some of these are unique. You're going to see things in an HTML5 target that you won't see in other targets. And in PDF, it's kind of the same. There are certain things that are unique. And the PDF target has this PDF options tab down here. So you can come in here and you can specify certain things that just have to do with the PDF, the image compression. You can put in the document properties. You can specify what's going to happen with RGB colors, converting them to CMYK. You can do PDF tagging. And you can specify how it initially opens up. Is it going to be 1 page or 2 pages or what? So some really cool, unique things in here for PDF. So if you're generating print-based output, chances are you're going to be using this one. But there are other options. And so we'll take a look at those as we continue here. All right, the next output type that we want to talk about is Microsoft Word. And of course, I don't need to say anything about Word because everybody uses it. Everybody knows what it is. It's just one of those output types that you can use, print-based output type from Flare. And of course, the major difference between outputting to Word versus PDF is with Word, you get that and then people can just edit it, which is maybe what you need. For example, some people decide to output to Word because they want to use it as a part of a review process. They'll output to Word, send it to someone, that person marks it up, and then they import it back into their project, and that's how they do their reviews. And you can do that. You can make that happen. I would suggest, if you are going down that road, that you consider a couple of other options that are going to be more seamless, that work better with Flare. One of them is you can use MadCap Contributor, which is a desktop application that reviewers can have, and you send things to them and they review it there and then send it back, and then you integrate it into Flare. Or there's MadCap Central, which is really super cool. It is so Central is MadCap Software's cloud-based platform. So what you're doing is you're sending things to reviewers, to doesn't even, subject matter experts, other Flare authors, either way, and they are reviewing these up on the cloud. And so the real big benefit here is that whereas with these other options, you kind of need to do it one person at a time, but with MadCap Central, people can be all reviewing the same thing at the same time. So just real quickly, wanted to let you know that if you're thinking of doing Word output for reviews, there are a couple of other options, but maybe you've got some good reasons to output to Word. If you do, it's there. The next output type is PowerPoint, and this was added after I originally recorded this video. So even though people look at PowerPoint presentations usually online, it is built in the same way, similar to the way that you would build PDF or Word, in that you are using a TOC file as an outline more than a generated TOC. You also are going to want to use page layout for it. And I would recommend using one of the landscape page layout template types. You can see I've got a couple in here. You're going to tie these into your target. Right, there's page layout, and there is the TOC file right there. So you probably would have a unique one for your PowerPoint output. And you also get this tab down here, PowerPoint options, where you can provide metadata. I actually have a more thorough video on PowerPoint output. I'll put a link to it in the description for this video if you want to check that out. It's there. The next output type is called clean XHTML. So what's that? Well, clean XHTML is really just stripped down output. It is basically your HTML files that you output. So normally when you would generate something like HTML5 output, it includes a lot of MadCap specific tags because because Flare has a lot of really cool, unique features. It has its own tags. Well, clean XHTML is going to strip all that out. Not only that, but you are also not going to have any navigation, meaning skin navigation in there. You're not going to have search, anything like that. All of that just goes away. And so why would you want that? Why on earth would you want all this stuff stripped out? Well, there are some good reasons. Number one, probably the most common reason is that a lot of people need to output and create output, and they want to publish it up to platforms like Salesforce, ServiceNow, and Zendesk. And if you do HTML5 with a side nav skin or a top nav skin, it's not going to work. It's not going to get up there. What you need to do is strip all that stuff out, so it's just really your content, and you'd use clean XHTML for that, and then you publish that up to those platforms. Another reason why someone might want to use this output type is maybe they want to embed the output into a software application, just put it right inside there. So clean XHTML is really good for that. Or maybe they just want to use it because there's several post-processing tasks that they need to do. So it could be for a variety of reasons, but yeah, clean XHTML, it is clean. It is stripping that stuff out there and just leaving you with the basic stuff, which can be a good thing depending on your needs. Okay, so we have another output type that a lot of people have probably never even heard of, and it is called Eclipse Help. And I'm going to jump into Flare and take a quick look at that target. Okay, so you can see over on the left, got a target that is using the Eclipse Help format. And if I open this up, you're going to see, again, a lot of the same options, but it does have a special Eclipse options tab in here. So Eclipse Help is designed specifically for people who want to use Flare to author an Eclipse Help plugin. And so when you are using this, you're developing your target, you're going to want to come in here to the Eclipse options tab and fill this stuff in. So you're working with the Eclipse integrated development environment. And of course, 1% of you are going, that's awesome. That's what we need. That's exactly what our company uses, and I need that. And for you, then this is what you should do. It works really well with that, and you're going to use Eclipse Help. The other 99% of you are going, huh? What? What? Yeah, exactly. You don't need to know. You're only going to use this output type if your company is using the Eclipse plugin. All right. So otherwise, you're just going to go, yeah, okay, good luck to you, and you're on to something else. So for people who need to use the Eclipse Help plugin, this is perfect. For those of you who have no idea what it is, keep going. All right, so what's next? Well, what's next is EPUB, or ebooks. So if you have the need to produce output that needs to be read on something like a Kindle or a Nook or an iPad, an ebook, everybody knows what ebooks are, then you can use this output format. And let's take a quick look at the target editor for this. And you can see over on the left, I've got my EPUB target, and I open that up, and yeah, you're going to have the same options, a lot of them. And then you come down and you got special EPUB options. All right, so you're going to be filling in all of this information about the title and the author and genre and the ISBN and all these things that are important for ebooks and specific settings for EPUB 3 output and MOBI output. And then you can put in your cover page in here. So some unique things for EPUB output. And EPUB's unique in that in a way, it's sort of like a hybrid output because it's got some online stuff, some online elements, but it also is sort of like a print output, you're going from page to page. So it is kind of a unique thing. But if you need to create ebooks, then this is just for you, EPUB. Now, Flare also lets you create HTML help or CHM help. And for people who have been around for a while, you know what I'm talking about. This is an older legacy type of output. And it was all the rage back in 1997 when it came out. And it was really cool, and it compressed all of the output files into a single file. And that was just really cool. The thing is, it's really, it was great then. But times have moved on, and other output formats have definitely surpassed it. So when you open it up, you can see it's aged. Now, some companies may still insist on using HTML help, and if that's the case, you got it. You can use it, or maybe you're just kind of nostalgic and you just miss 1997, some of the music and everything. So you can use it if you want, unless you have a good reason to use it. Your company is saying you got to use this. I'd use HTML5, but for those of you who have to use it, there it is. And now I need to talk briefly about some deprecated outputs, and let's go back into Flare. So all of the output types I've talked about so far, you can see I've added them in this project over on the left side, all of them. Now, if you right click and you select add target and you give it a name and you go, I'm going to choose my output type. Well, all of the ones I talked about down to here, they're there. But we also have these listed at the bottom, deprecated. You could still select one of these, but deprecated means they're going away. They are slated for removal. They are going to output type heaven one of these days. And so these are DITA, Web Help, and Web Help Plus. And the thing is, their time has just kind of passed. Now, especially for Web Help and Web Help Plus, because HTML5 does everything and more that those did. And so people who were using Web Help Plus years ago, most of them have moved on to HTML5, and those who haven't are going to need to. We're just keeping these in here for the time being to give people a chance to move on to HTML5. So yeah, if you already have Web Help or Web Help Plus, then you really should be moving on to HTML5. If you don't have Web Help and Web Help Plus or DITA, just don't select them. Just don't, because they're going away. But they're there in the interface, and so I wanted to bring them up because you're going to see them. And that about does it. That wraps it up. So thank you for watching this video. We will talk to you next time.